All right, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight to Local to Global, how Amazon can make your small town business go big. Tonight, we're going to be talking to you about e-commerce and specifically using Amazon as a platform to hopefully scale your business and then, grow online. Drake, if you could go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So, who are we?
Hey, my name is Josh McGill. I work for Logan, and I was operating his prep center this summer and sending in his product into Amazon as well as other clients. So through working for him, I've sent thousands of product into Amazon.
So my name is Logan Altenberger. I've been in the e-commerce space for almost 3 years now. I started back in April of 2020. We were just looking for a way to make some additional money. Came across a video from a guy named Gary Vee talking about how you can resell products on Amazon. Decided to try it out. So for the last 3 years, I've been building an e-commerce business, also building my personal brand there and selling digital services and products to other businesses. I've sold well over 50,000 products on Amazon, so that's specifically what we're going to be talking to you about tonight.
And I am the new person here in this town, and my name is Cisco. I've sold a little over 7 figures on the Amazon platform. I am a host on a podcast, and I also help develop the brand of the Doughboys. Nice to meet everybody.
And then the last gentleman there, he's going to be joining us later via a live call. His name is Phil. He's another e-commerce seller, sold well over 7 figures as well. He's dabbled in pretty much everything. He's going to join it and talk to us about the listing creation process on Amazon. So why is e-commerce important? There's a few key points that I want to cover. One is scaling leads to freedom. So a lot of time as business owners, we get into entrepreneurship to get some kind of freedom, but what we end up doing is just creating another job for ourselves and really working harder than ever before. And scaling, specifically through e-commerce, which allows you to scale, will allow you to achieve the freedom that you were striving for in the first place. So let's say you have a small business, it's a shop or just something that you're running on your own. It's dependent on you. And you're making, $1,000, $1,500 a month, which is awesome, but that's not enough money being generated to outsource to other people to run your business. Once you start to scale, and specifically you can do that with e-commerce, you'll be able to have more cash coming in so that you can start to pay other people and build your team, which will allow you to outsource and get that freedom that you were striving for in the first place. Number 2 is more customer value, convenience. Who here likes convenience and likes having products just shipped straight to them? I mean, we all love Amazon, right? So customers want convenience, and by selling online using Amazon, you're able to provide that to them. It doesn't matter what business you're in, you need to provide value to your customers, whatever they're perceiving that as, or they're going to go to your competitor who is. Number 3 is wider reach. Let's say, for example, you have a shop downtown. Maybe it's Alpha Candles, for example. So you have this downtown brick and mortar shop, but you're really limited to the people in this area that you can sell to. Let's say we have, 6,000 people that live in Hillsboro, where when I'm using Amazon, I can reach hundreds of millions of customers. It's night and day difference. You can reach so many more people with the power of e-commerce. Number 4 is you can keep up with the changing times. So let's hear some guesses. How much money do you think was generated through e-commerce retail sales last year, 2022? Any guesses? $10 billion. Not even close. Trillion. $1 trillion. I can't even fathom how much money that is. To break it down, to get $1 trillion, you'd literally have to spend $1 million every single day for almost the next 3,000 years. And that was generated in 1 year on e-commerce. And we just keep growing. That number is growing more and more every year.
I've heard that Cabeto's may have sold 1 trillion beers.
That might be it. All right, Drake, next slide, please. Now, tonight we're focusing specifically on Amazon, and the other alternative is to build your own website. We believe Amazon is the better option for several reasons. So one, Amazon has a massive customer base that you can reach to. By 2025, Amazon is expected to have 176 million Prime accounts in the US alone. And we talked about from local to global. So that's just the US. Now think about the whole world, how many Prime accounts they might have. In January of this year, so just a few months ago, Amazon.com, the US marketplace, had 2.2 billion visits. 2.2 billion visits to their website. That's an astronomical amount of traffic. Also, Amazon brings brand recognition and trust. How many of you shop on Amazon? Everybody, right? So Amazon is a brand that customers trust. They know it's going to be good. They know they're getting good quality products. They know if there's any issues, they can get a refund. So Amazon provides brand recognition and trust that you don't have to build on your own. Amazon also has something called FBA that Josh is going to talk about more. It stands for Fulfilled by Amazon, which basically, Josh will get into it, but it allows Amazon to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. They're going to ship to your customers, handle the customer service, and all that. And lastly, you don't have to build your own traffic. The alternative might be building your own website, and you can do that, but it's going to be very expensive through the use of ads and everything else to drive that traffic to your site, whereas you could just piggyback off Amazon, who's already done that hard work for you.
Thank you, Logan. Give it up for Logan and his portion. Woo! All right. Now, for the sake of transparency, we want to make sure that you guys also know some things that you want to be aware of when selling on Amazon, right? So one thing is that there is a learning curve, which when you start a business, there's a learning curve anyways, right? So you didn't always know which transaction software you were going to use. You didn't know exactly how your business plan was going to be or which type of building to buy. So just like on Amazon, there is a learning curve that comes with it in learning how to operate the platform at its best optimized portion.
There is a learning curve and other hurdles to jump over, but in my opinion, that just makes Amazon more worthwhile long term. If you're the person who's willing to put in that work, overcome those obstacles, go through that learning curve, then it's going to be more fruitful because there's other people who won't take the time and they're just going to be out in less competition.
The next portion is going to be fees, right? So because you are selling on Amazon, Amazon is going to want a fee for their services, right? You are using their platform to sell and to promote your products. So you're going from your small business and promoting it here in Hillsborough to promoting it, as Logan mentioned earlier, worldwide. Amazon isn't only in the US. You can sell items in Japan, in the UK, in Mexico, in Canada, a bunch of other places. So Amazon does have these fees. So these are some of the things that you're going to want to keep in mind when you're talking about your cost of goods and creating your financial future with Amazon e-commerce.
Is it a tiered system, so the amount that you're selling drops to a certain percentage? Is that
Yes.
So there's two primary types of fees. One is the pick and pack fee, one is the referral fee. The pick and pack fee is going to be essentially what Amazon is charging you to ship it to the customer, and it's based on the size and weight of your item. Beyond that, for the referral fee, you can generally expect 8 to 15%. Mostly
8 to 15?
Usually 8 or 15 is what I should say. It depends on the category you're selling in. The pricing has some to play there, but the main thing is the category.
Yep. And there's a lot of other intricacies as well,
Yeah.
pricing and whatnot. There's a lot of nuance.
It's like FTEs to your organization anyway. So
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah, and especially that pick and pack fee, it usually ends up being cheaper because you don't have to pay for the shipping to the customer. You're utilizing Amazon to do it for you.
Yep. And it gets out faster as well.
Yep.
So it kind of goes into you not necessarily needing to be present in the business physically because you'll have Amazon there to pack your items and ship it out to your customers. But the next thing is going to be dependency on Amazon. So with Amazon, you are dependent on their rules to be able to sell on their platform. They do have a TOS or terms of service to sell on their product or sell on their platform. So you do want to go off of their rules and you do want to learn what those are. That way you go based off their guidelines and are able to use their platform to the best of your abilities. Furthermore, you are also a little bit limited in branding. So when you have your storefront here physically, you can kind of do what you want creatively or what you envision your business to be. As we mentioned, Amazon does have terms of services. So there are some guidelines that you do have to follow when promoting your products on Amazon's platform. You just kind of have to go by their rules, essentially. Let's see here. Now, one thing, so I landed here in Hillsborough about 2 days ago. And one thing that I really noticed and caught on really quickly is that it's really homey here. You guys really develop a relationship with your clients. I know walking around with Logan, Logan kind of knew everybody, and everybody knew Logan. And it was like, not only are you purchasing coffee at the Black Rabbit or just walking through the movie, it's a conversation, and you develop that relationship. That's one of the downsides of Amazon, is that it's faceless. You're not getting to meet your customers. So you don't own any of that customer data, so you won't be able to make those relationships. And because Amazon owns those customers' data, you can't target customers for different promotions or for new releases of different products, or even solicit any reviews. Those are against their terms of services. Let's see here. And the last thing that I want to mention is that there is a little bit of a delayed payout. When it comes to Amazon and you ship your items to Amazon, one, it takes a week or so for it to arrive to their warehouse. Two, it takes another week for it to get checked in and processed through their systems. And then once it sells, they hold the funds of those sales for about 3 weeks or so. So overall, you're looking at around a month and a half or so of the turnaround of your funds. So it is a little bit different, and you are going to want to plan accordingly, because when you have your physical location and somebody comes into your location, pays cash, you can kind of use those funds to pay for other expenses. There is a little bit of a tailed payout when it comes to that. Let's see here. Oh. Now, there are essentially 4 main business models to sell on Amazon. The one that I am most familiar with are the first 2 here, which is going to be retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. Now, what this means is retail arbitrage, you go find items that are discounted, maybe at a Walmart or any other discount areas, and you're able to find those products because they're either discontinued or out of the season, and able to sell it on Amazon's platform for the retail price at a profit, or potentially, if it's in demand, sell it a little bit higher. For example, if you're in Hawaii and find a jacket, they're probably going to be selling it at a discount because they don't need any jackets. But it might be winter here, and somebody's going to want to buy it at the normal retail price. And online arbitrage is essentially the same thing, just doing it online versus going physically into any retail store. Now, the third model is going to be wholesale. This you can kind of think of as your Walmart or a Costco or a Target. You essentially buy from the brand directly, or you buy from a distributor at bulk pricing. That's going to give you a little bit of lower pricing. That way you're able to still sell it at a retail price for a profit. Now, the fourth one here is private label. And actually our next guest that we're going to have come on is going to talk a little bit more about private label. But essentially, it's just buying items in bulk that are anywhere, really. For example, these microphones that we have clipped onto us, and slapping your logo on here and just selling it on Amazon as your own brand. And then the last one is going to be selling your own brand. And I'm actually going to have Logan talk a little bit more about this because, well, he has Alpha Canvas.
Yeah, so just like it sounds, selling your own brand on Amazon. So going through the process of building your listings on the Amazon Marketplace and then piggybacking off of their customers, hopefully utilizing FBA, and overall just growing your brand on Amazon. All right, you want to get Phil set up?
Yep.
We got a special guest. He goes by Filled by Amazon.
You want to pass everyone already? You want to pass it again?
We'll do it again.
You should put like an African theme.
All right, we can hear you, Phil. Can you hear us?
All right. Yep, there we go.
You have to add his screen.
All right. Give us 1 second, Phil. We're going to add your screen here.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about building listings and your brand on Amazon. I'm going to assume that most of our guests here tonight are brick and mortar owners. You have your own storefront, most likely. So some of this isn't necessarily tailored from somebody starting with that advantage, and that is an advantage. And since normally when I talk to people about Amazon and selling Amazon, you have to caveat it with, returns aren't typical, financial promises can be guaranteed, but it's also coming from the guy with a bunch of He-Man action figures in the background. So take that for what it's worth. I feel like I've done decently on Amazon, but you're talking to somebody who has some toys in the background. So here we go. It's already been mentioned, the biggest benefit of e-commerce and Amazon specifically is that the reach that Amazon has to connect your product, your brand with customers, not just in Hillsborough, not just in the St. Louis area, but nationally, across the country, and even internationally. So when it comes to building your brand, you're putting your products on Amazon. The best thing to do is there's 4 keys really to a world-class listing. It's packaging, photography, keywords, and your copy. And we're going to get into each one of these briefly. And hopefully the slides are going to be available to you. I am going to kind of go through these quickly, but I want to focus on each one of these pieces because each one is important.
Hey, Phil, one second. Click share screen on your end, and then if you pull up that presentation, I can add it. And then you'll be able to control it from your end.
All right, hold on. Share screen. Technology. We got present. Okay, we go. All right. We good?
All right, you're good to go.
Okay. All right, so 4 keys building world-class listing creations, and each one of these components are important because on Amazon, you really, the saying that you only have one time to make a good first impression is absolutely true. If you shopped on Amazon searching for whatever gadget or doodad that was just generic, like it wasn't a replacement specific part for your oven, that you were looking for a very specific part, but maybe it was just a gift. You're going to scroll through and whatever image is, whatever maybe copy or pricing gets your attention, you're going to gravitate to and click on those, maybe even buy. So when it comes to building a world-class listing, the best advice I can give you is to do it right the first time. And putting your products on Amazon is not a get-rich-quick scheme. No matter what you see, people may promote on social media or YouTube or any of these things. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Now, you can make good money and do well for your business on Amazon, but the reason that you're putting a product on this marketplace is because the goal is to connect your product with more customers, which in turn helps to build your brand. And as you build your brand, you're able to connect with more customers. It's a great circle that can only help your product and your brand grow. So you want to do it right the first time. So when we're talking about product packaging, this is one of the elements. And, there's a lot of different ways to package your product to get it to Amazon, which then will do all the heavy lifting for you to get it to the customer. But what you want to do when it comes to those elements, your photography, your copy, your keywords, your packages, is you want to use every opportunity that you have to create wow moments. So if you've ever ordered something from Apple, Apple is great at this in their packaging, that it's almost like a work of art. It creates a wow moment. I mean, everything looks like it's been thoughtful in its layout and how you open it and the sequence that you open it. And your product packaging can speak to the quality of your product. Now, it's easy to slap it in a plain brown box. It's easy to slap it in a clear color bag. But you need to tailor your product to the audience that potentially may be purchasing your product. So think about, is the product that I'm going to put, is it something that is giftable? Meaning people buy this not just maybe for the personal use, but to give to somebody else as a gift. You know, Alpha candles. If I'm buying a candle, maybe I want to give this to family members. So hopefully the packaging is something that makes them think, wow, this is, you know, just the outside looks real nice. And there's three different options when it comes to your packaging. Obviously, they're going to range in the expense. The most expensive being a colored box. Now, I recently purchased a water bottle that came in a nice, multicolored, well-designed box. And it actually made me think for a moment, wow, this is pretty cool. And I haven't even opened the box yet. You can do the same thing with a brown box. You can put your logo on it. You can put your branding on it, you know. And the most cost-effective or the cheapest packaging would be a poly bag. A lot of people think about a poly bag as, you know, just a clear plastic bag. You put your stuff and you send it out to Amazon. But if you actually think about and take some time to, hey, I'm trying to make a first impression really great for the customer on their end, you can go a step above just a plain clear poly bag and use what's called a frosted poly bag, which is a picture that we have here on the slide. And so, you know, this is one element of helping your listing and your products stand out. The next is going to be photography. Now, when it comes to, Cisco mentioned your terms of service and what you can do and what type of branding is allowed within Amazon's terms of service. Really, when it comes to your images, there's really only one thing that you have to follow when it comes to your images. And that is your main image, the very first image that customers see, has to have a plain white background. Now, this is not the time to whip out your iPhone and shoot a picture of your product. And it's not a time to allow your cousin or nephew or brother-in-law's high school friend who's good with Photoshop to take a stab at your images. I have one of my degrees is in graphic design, and I don't do anything with any of my listings. I have 2 products currently on Amazon, and the only thing I did was I created a logo. But the photography, the copy, every other part of the listing, I hired out to professionals to do. So the 2 examples here are examples that I found today on Amazon, and you can see the difference clearly in those 2 pictures. One shows a little bit of class, and one just looks like they took it on the kitchen counter. And so you want to make sure that your photography is done professionally. A few other things that you want to consider and probably implement when it comes to when it comes to putting your photography and your images of your products is Amazon allows you to have several images, but your first one has to have a plain white background. One thing you want to consider is including what I would call an infographic image. And, you know, again, you're not there to talk face-to-face with the customer and answer all the concerns or the questions, but your images and your copy can help do these things. An infographic does a couple of things, and there's 3 separate examples here on the screen for you. You know, one can be a comparison. How does your product compare with others that are similar as far as the features, the benefits, you know, comparison infographic. Another one can be what's included, what am I getting? You know, if I have this is a fire starter, this middle image, you know, show me what all I'm getting. Like, maybe I didn't know I was going to draw a spring bag because your main image doesn't show that. Maybe I don't know that I'm getting a waterproof capsule that has a little bit of cotton tender. But this image shows me that, and it helps answer some questions and helps me to get over some of those objections on maybe why I should buy something else. And you can also ask questions about, will this product work for me personally? This last image is one of a cargo carrier for vehicles. And this is a great image because tells the customer in one picture, no matter what type of vehicle they have, it looks like it'll fit, whether you have a rack, no rack, rails, side rails, top rails. And so all of these things help answer those customer questions and concerns. Another example of images that you really, this is almost a must if you want to create a world-class listing, is what are called lifestyle images. So imagine your product is a camping tent. Now, throughout this whole thing of creating a listing that stands out, that's world-class, that puts yourself above your competition, is you want to create an emotional connection with your customer. Again, you're not there to do it face-to-face. You're not there to, create the atmosphere, ask them how they're doing, create a rapport with them. But through your copy and through your images, you can help your customer see themselves using your product. And a lifestyle image is a great way to do that. Now, if I'm selling camping tents, I can just put up a plain image of the tent. The customer can see for themselves. If they want to buy it, fine, it's up to them. Or I can take the time, take the tent out into a nice, maybe a wooded or a park setting, get my family with me, and have some pictures taken to help my customer emotionally connect and see themselves using my product. Because your goal is to set your product apart and connect with your audience or your customer in an emotional way. So photography is product packaging. These are elements of creating a listing on Amazon that helps your product to stand out. The next part is keywords. Now, Amazon is a search-based platform, right? Most of us realize that if we're looking for, a Harry Potter Lego set, and we type those words in, Amazon is going to show us the results based on the keywords or the search that we enter into their website. So with keywords, this is the part of the marketing aspect. Where do I put my keywords? Amazon actually gives you quite a few places. That again help customers find your product and connect with it. So how do I, using Logan as Alpha Candles as an example, what keywords do I use? Well, candles would be a great place to start, but how do I find more keywords for my product? There's a couple different ways. One is to look at the other competitors selling the same or similar products on Amazon and see what type of words they're using in their title. What kind of words are they using in their bullet points? You'll notice that a lot of them are going to be relevant to the type of product in the category that is listed, or maybe some of it even can be changed for seasonality. So one of my products is geared towards a specific trade and men in general. And so during Father's Day and around Thanksgiving, I actually changed some of my keywords and my bullet points to, you know, great gift for dad, or great gift for a grandfather. So you can see what other type of keywords people who are also selling similar products that manually you can search for that. And then there's also software tools that you can use. Two of them that I've used are, one is called Viral Launch, and one is called Helium 10. Now, with both of these, what I would recommend if you're looking for, you know, what other keywords might be out there, because some of these softwares are really good at finding keywords that you would not even think of, is to just get a 1 month subscription to these softwares, and they both have keyword research tools within them. Use that for 1 month, you know, buy a 1 month subscription, do the keyword research, plug in what type of product you're trying to sell or trying to put on Amazon, and it's going to give you a lot of different options for keywords. But what you want to have, you want to aim for about 50 keywords that you can then insert into your listing. Again, it's your title, your bullet points, your product description in the back end. So you really want to have as many keywords as possible when it comes to the next step, which is creating your copy. Now, again, I cannot stress this enough. The fact that you have a product, hopefully already, you know, maybe in your brick and mortar store, that gives you a leg up on people like me who do private label, where I had to come up with an idea for a product from scratch. But you still want to do it, even if you have an existing product, you still want to do every one of these portions right the first time. I would rather spend a little bit more money on the front end, paying someone to do my copy who does it professionally, paying a professional photographer to take my images, hire a graphic designer, maybe to take a look at my current packaging and maybe to make some better suggestions or some improvements. But I want to do it right the first time, because I'd rather pay a little bit up front than every year have to pay somebody else to make another change. My first product on Amazon, my first private label product on Amazon, I've had for just over 2 years now, and I've not changed the images, the copy, the bullet points, the packaging since I launched that product, because I paid a little bit more on the front end. It's just like if you have a brick and mortar store, right? You can buy an existing space and just leave the walls as they are, as you purchased it or as you leased it. But you're probably going to spend a little bit extra on some paint. Paint the walls, make them the colors that you like, make them the colors that match your brand or the atmosphere you're trying to set, right? Just do it right the first time, and you're going to save yourself some headaches on the back end. So with your copy, just like I said with your images, you want to create an emotional connection. Now, this is 2 examples. I'm not going to read all of this to you. You may not be able to see it, but this is 2 examples of something I found on Amazon today for compression socks. 2 examples of what I would call okay copy, just a brief bullet point versus something that actually stands out a little bit better. So the first one, 78% nylon, 14% spandex, 8% polyester, made in USA, machine wash. Each box contains 1 pair of easy on and easy off knee high compression socks, etc., etc., etc. Very basic. I can look at that, maybe doesn't make any connection with me. Versus the other person who actually stuffed all of their bullet points with as many keywords and also took the time to try to make an emotional connection with the customer. And they did it in a way where they combined all caps for people who like to just skim some of these bullet points, and with lowercase, sentences for people who actually take the time to read. So, style and confidence on your legs. Finally, a durable compression sock designed to last without compromising quality or comfort. Next bullet point, because pushing yourself that extra mile matters. Get your legs properly geared up for work, play, and everything in between. Great for day and night use and perfect hose for those who are on their feet most of the time. Take your game to the next level. Grab control of your well-being and style. An excellent compression hose, very durable with a fashionable look and variety of colors available. Washable design, you go into these things. The last one, get ready to become a raving fan. We cut no corners in our product and will cut no corners in our support of you. You are making a very intelligent decision doing business with our company. We know you are a big deal and will only provide you with the finest product and service around or your money back. Can you tell the difference? Right? That makes a little bit of a connection. And all they're doing is they're describing compression socks. Both products are for the same exact thing. Both have similar images, but the copy is worlds apart. And this is what I mean when I talk about creating a world-class listing. Every part of your listing needs to go that extra mile, needs to be that extra little effort versus just taking my pictures with my phone, putting a brief blank description, generic description in, and then crossing my fingers and hoping it sells. My goal is not to just put products on Amazon. My goal is that I want to put them on Amazon and I want to actually sell my products, right? That's the goal. So, unless you're a professional who has experience creating copy that converts to sales, this needs to be handled by a professional. And there's you can Google copywriters. You can probably go on Fiverr. There's 2 agencies here that I've used. And again, this is a little bit of an expense, but it's an expense that's well worth it because you're trying to create not only an emotional connection, but you're also trying to create a listing that stands out above all of the other competitors in the marketplace. Because the Amazon marketplace isn't like the main street in your town where people only have so many options. When it comes to the internet, when it comes to Amazon, we use the camping tent as an example. People have hundreds, if not thousands, of choices when it comes to camping tents. And if I'm selling camping tents, I want my listing to stand out above everyone else. I want someone to spend a little bit more time looking at my product and hopefully making a connection. Because again, my goal is to not just put my products on Amazon, I want to sell. And your copy should help convert into sales, not prevent them. So there's a couple agencies. A couple other tips when it comes to putting your products on Amazon is you want to trademark your brand. Alpha Candles. You want to trademark that. And it's relatively easy to do yourself. I've done it for my own brand on USPTO, the Patent and Trademark Office. You can do it yourself. Trademark 411 is another website. You can actually hire someone for a few $100s, and they will create the trademark on USPTO. And then once you have that trademark, you can then actually make your listing and do something with your storefront that a lot of other people aren't allowed to do, because you can actually connect with what's called brand registry on Amazon, and this opens up more options to where you can prevent other people from other dirty resellers who find your product somewhere else and then they sell it for an exorbitant amount of money on Amazon. It's the same exact product. You can actually kick them off your listings. You can kick them off your products with brand registry, but you have to have a trademark for that. The last little part of building a solid brand and helping to really make your product do well is what's called PPC. Now, this is what I consider a pretty important part of getting eyeballs on your listing. PPC is paid advertising. It stands for pay per click. And again, you don't want to just put your product on Amazon. You want to sell it on Amazon, and you want to sell it well. I don't want to just put my candles on Amazon. I want to dominate the candle category. And all these things, my packaging, my copy, my images, my keywords, these are all things that are gonna help me. And PPC helps me also get over the edge, because what happens when you put your product for the first time on Amazon, you have no sales history. People don't know where you are. So if you search, camping tents, and it's the first day you're on Amazon, you might be on page 10. I don't know about you, but I've never scrolled to. I would think most of you have not either, right? You probably haven't even scrolled to page 3. Well, what happens is the way you get your product in front of more eyes is you generate sales. And as you generate sales, your product ranks higher for that category, for that niche. And PPC helps you do this. Because the goal, again, is I want to sell products on Amazon, and I want to sell them well. In order to do that, I want to be in front of the most eyeballs that are searching for this product, and that's going to be on page 1 for that search term. Again, camping tents, compression socks, whatever it is. I want to be at the top of page 1, so when people search that keyword, I'm one of the first products that they see. They don't scroll down, maybe your wife or your aunt or your friend. You tell them you sell something on Amazon, they might do it so that you get a couple of sales, but you want the general public to buy your products. And so PPC is a very important part of it. Now, at the start, it can be a little bit more of an expense, but there's also a reason why you want to spend the money and it's well worth it, because those paid ads help you get in front of more eyeballs, generating sales, and it allows your product to grow and rank. So you want to be as close to the top of page 1 as you can. Now, you can do that one of either 2 ways. You can use PPC and pay for advertising, or you can hopefully already be a household brand like Disney or Walmart or Pepsi, right? Well, PPC is simply you bid how much you're willing to spend per campaign or per keyword. So, using the camping tents as an example again. If that's one of my main keywords, I might bid a few more cents, maybe as much as $1, for when people search for those words and actually click on my listing. It's not like $1 every time they search for the word camping tent. But Amazon obviously respects the brands and the products that pay a little bit more than the advertising in to promote those products. And so these campaigns, they basically all they are is how much am I bidding per keyword. And so if we want to use the example of, let's just say, kids keychains, right? This is a screenshot. When I searched this today on Amazon, on page 1, close to the very top of the page, you'll see products, and they'll all say the little word sponsored by them. When I searched kids keychains, this was the very first row under that keyword. All of these products, all of these companies are paying to be at the top spot for the search term or the keyword kids keychains. And when it comes to your keywords, both, in this example, both keychains and kids keychains could be 2 separate keywords. And that's why I said earlier, you want to have as many keywords as you can that are relevant, and this really is important when it comes to your PPC part of your listing. And so what PPC will do for your product, again, assuming that you've taken the appropriate steps to create a world-class listing, is that it's going to get more eyeballs on your product, and the better product and listing that you have, the more sales are going to generate, because naturally you're paying to be at the top of these search results. And so it's kind of like a flywheel. The more sales that you generate, the higher that your product begins to rank. And as you begin to rank higher, now your product will actually show up even alongside where it says sponsor. Let me show you an example. So again, this is under the search term kids keychains. If you look at the second image, and then the one at the far, it's to my right, they have those 4 little keychains. One of them has the word sponsored by it. They're paying for that. The other one, the one closer to the middle, that's the organic spot. So now this product, because they've taken some finances and invested it into paying for advertising, they've actually generated enough sales that now their product is organically getting to that top of page 1. And so what that means is, obviously, if I'm paying for advertising, every time someone clicks on my product, I don't get all of the profit from that sale because I had to invest some of it into advertising. But as I've generated more sales, my listing now starts to rank organically, and now if they click on my product listing there in the middle, that's not the sponsored one, it's already there organically, I make more profit because that placement did not cost me any advertising. It rose there over time. So it's kind of like a flywheel. The more sales you generate, and PPC will help you get there, the more sales you generate, you begin to rank higher and higher, and then over time, you can actually dial back your advertising spend. In my experience, when I first launched a product, my advertising spend is very heavy on the front end because my goal is I want to get to the top of page 1 or page 1 as fast as I can, and PPC is what helps me get there. My first product, I got to the top of page 1 within 2 weeks. It was there for several months, and then I ran out of stock, which is like the worst thing you can do on Amazon because since I don't have any stock, I lose sales. When I relaunched it, again, I got there fairly quickly, but after being there for a while, last spring, I was actually able to turn off my advertising completely for 4 months. I didn't lose any ranking. My sales, my profit grew because I wasn't paying for advertising on my product. I had already organically ranked there. So PPC is a portion of helping your product to do well. So hopefully that answers some questions. Again, I'm going to assume that these slides are available for you after the presentation. And, really the goal, again, is not just to put my product on Amazon, but it's to sell on Amazon and to sell them well. Because Amazon allows me to reach into customer bases that I never had access to before, whether it was through my own website or my own brick and mortar location.
Thanks, Phil. Let's give him a round of applause.
That's all I have.
Oh, you couldn't hear us. Add yourself to the stream and thank him. Or don't. Yeah, add yourself to the stream and thank you so you can actually hear us. All right, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Phil.
Interesting. The PPC wasn't something that would be something a normal person would intuitively drop into.
Right.
I think that was probably the most big takeaway.
So these are the 2 main ways Amazon have set up for you to send your product into the customer or into them. All right, so you've got your product listed. Now you actually have to get it to the customer. FBA is my favorite because Amazon's going to do the heavy lifting for you, right? We're going to go do some prep in a minute, but essentially after you've done your prep and you've boxed it up, you ship it into Amazon. and then your work is done. They're gonna get it to your customer for you. Sometimes your product will even get the Amazon Prime logo on there, which is a really awesome, neat thing. You're also gonna save a bunch on shipping, all right? They've got really good shipping rates when you do the FBA model. Typically, you want your shipment to be about 300 pounds, okay? That's gonna be divided up between a few boxes for some reasons we'll get into in a moment. FBM is fulfilled by merchant, you're the merchant. So it's fulfilled by you. You're gonna be packaging up each product you're selling and shipping it right to your customer. So if you're selling peanut butter, for example, all these peanut butter jars are gonna be sitting in your store or in your house, whatever that is, and then being you get a notification that you made a sale, you now need to package this up and send it directly to the customer, all right?
Girl Scout cookies.
Sure, Girl Scout cookies would work. All right, now some things you need to notice about that. When you're selling FBM, none of your dunnage, so if you're using any paper or any bubble air pouches to package your product, it can't have any words on it. It needs to be completely empty, all right? If it doesn't and Amazon finds out, they're going to freak out, all right? It won't be good. Don't do that. FBA, only rule with dunnage is don't use packing peanuts, all right? That's the only rule. Outside of that, go ham. Right? Next slide. All right, so FBA, box limits. The box cannot be over 50 pounds. That's a rule they have for their, a notice they give for their employees. That's the reason for it. And then none of the box's dimensions can be over 25 inches. As I was working for Logan, there was a number of times that boxes came in over 50 pounds to them. There's a little fee you have to pay. It's kind of a pain in the butt, so stay away from it. What we do is we stop every box at 45 pounds. We also weigh them twice to make sure that there's not a problem with the scale. As far as 25 inches, we just don't take any box that has any side that's longer than 24. Then you just have a little bit of room for error, all right? And then you can sleep well at night, your boxes are gonna get in fine. Dunnage, we already went over that. Don't use packing peanuts, and when you're shipping the product yourself, make sure there's no words on it, all right? And then for these next 2 points, we're actually gonna have some hands-on here. I don't have any battery products, so if there is a battery in the product you're sending in, the only thing you have to do is when you're sending in the product, it'll be on Amazon. You just have to click a few buttons that says there's a battery. But other than that, could I get about 3 volunteers? We could take some more either as well. Come up here. Go for it. Come on
You guys
up.
are cheating. You already know how
I'm
to
not
do all
raising
this.
any hands. Come on up. 2 more, 1 more, be fine. This is a really low pressure situation.
Yeah, you do too much
Yeah,
of this already.
perfect.
Don't all volunteer at once.
Yeah, you can just come on behind here and stand next to me. Yeah. 1 more, anybody?
Storm wants to volunteer.
Oh,
Stormy,
gentleman in
going
the
up.
vest.
Stormy.
All right, so a lot of this, after you learn their TOS terms of service, is a little bit of it is common sense, so you want to be using that, but you also just want to learn their terms of service. So these are peanut butters. Let's pretend that this listing on Amazon is a bundle. So that means you're going to buy it, you're going to get 2 peanut butters, right? That means they have to go together in a poly bag. Now, before you put it in the poly bag, you need to check for something. Because this is a product that you are eating and potentially putting on your skin, that means if it's like a lotion or something or shampoo, you also need to keep that in mind. You need to look for the expiration date. So I'm going to look at the expiration date, and you're going to make sure that it's more than 4 months out. The official rule in terms of service is if it's a product that you're putting on your skin or eating, it needs to be 90 days. Right? It needs to be 90 days out because you have to account for ship time and then time for consumption from the customer. So is it good?
December 2023.
I'm not even doing that. If it's not good, you're going to have to send it back. But for the sake of this, we're going to say it's good. So what you're going to want to do, this is called a poly bag. You're going to want to put both of those in the poly bag.
Barcodes in.
There's a lot of places to get them from. I love supplies. Yeah,
Am I doing the full thing?
sure, go for it. Yeah, do it. You got a little sticky thing, you're gonna rip that off. And notice how he's doing a wonderful job of putting the package all the way down. That just keeps it nice and tight. It's good for giving you more space in your boxes, but it's also just a nice complete product, yes. And then what you would do is, if you notice on the back, there's these warning labels so people don't put them over their head and choke on them. That's Amazon Terms of Service. You cannot cover that up with your FN SKU, which is something that lets Amazon just scan the product. So you want to put that not over the flap that sticks. You don't want it going over that, and you don't want it going over the words. In addition to that, because this is a bundle, you're also going to have another sticker on there that says don't separate, because Amazon can't figure out that you don't want this separated, so you got to put that tag on there to let them know. All right, moving on to the next one. You get to go again, actually. So you're going to grab another poly bag. Why might we be poly bagging this product?
Because if it comes open, it's just gonna go everywhere.
It's a liquid, yeah, exactly. It's going to go everywhere, and it's a liquid. Before you put it in the bag, what else do you have to do with that? What is it?
Expiration.
Yeah, expiration. We're going to say it's good, so you're going to bag it up, all right? Yeah, with that, you're just going to, it's perfect. You rip it off, and you tag it on. And so something to keep in mind when you're doing this, let's say you had 50 of these peanut butter jars. You don't want to do what he's doing right now 50 times, right? You want to open up, you want to get 50 like bags ready. You want to get all of your peanut butter jars in 2 ready. You want to put them all in the bags. Then you want to go and rip off all the tags, close all the bags. Then you want to go through, tag them all with the FN SKUs, and then you want to go through again and tag them all with the don't separates. That's called batching. We always want to do that. It might seem like it's not as quick, but I promise you are going to shave so much time off your prep, all right? The water bottle, technically I think it also has a expiration date on it, but again, this is a liquid, so we are going to have to bag it up in the poly bag. You can go ahead and do that.
I was getting ready for the t-shirt.
Yeah,
Okay. So you check the expiration.
yep. It's just a little flap there. You can figure it out.
No.
You gotta just peel it off like
Nope.
that. Yeah. It's kind of hard to find. Perfect. Now with the clothes, this one's a little special. Let's say like you were buying the clothes and you bought it off a discount aisle and it had a discount tag on it. You'd have to look for the tag. You'd want to peel that off. You can't have any like tags that aren't the like barcode. That's the only thing that you want to have, and those have to be on the clothes that you want to send in. But this Alpha shirt, you're going to do it the same way. You're going to fold it up, and you are going to want to poly bag it as well. You're going to want to do that with stuffed animals and anything that's like polyester of that nature. So again, you're going to want to open up your bag. You're going to want to put it in there, and for the clothes, you want to make it as tight as possible, kind of like what he did at the peanut butter. So you can do it that way. You can do it long ways. Whatever makes it a nice tight fold. While she's doing that, we're going to move on to this gentleman at the end. This is our example of a breakable item, all right? This is a candle, it's glass. If you just send it in a poly bag, Amazon does not play nice with your product. I promise you that. It will break, okay? So you must be prepared for it to break. So we're going to bubble wrap this. You got it? So here at Alpha, the method we use is we're going to put it in there and we're going to wrap it this way. You're going to roll it about 5 times and then you're going to tear it off, and then I'll give you the next step, all right? Perfect. That's good. Do a couple more. There you go. There. Tear it off. Oh, okay. That's fine. Now you're going to do it this way because it's glass and we don't trust Amazon. So now you're going to just take that part right there and you're going to wrap it about 2 folds long ways. You're going to do the same thing, one more. And then you're just going to tear it off here. Fold that. Now you need to get a poly bag and you're going to put that in a poly bag.
Same thing as these. You buy those from
As someone who's prepped a lot, I wouldn't go with cheap with poly bags, just because when you're tearing off 50 things, like that little tag right there, you don't want something that's see-through or that doesn't tear off, or when you tear off that little flab, it sticks to your skin. You don't want that. You want something that just tears off quickly and you can just rip through the prep. And also, they're a little bit more durable.
You can go cheaper on your supplies, but then your labor costs are gonna be higher because it's less efficient.
I didn't know if like you, like Line Ranger,
So, yeah. So with this one especially, you're gonna have the urge to, after you've finished the bubble, like put it in a bag. Don't do that. Bubble wrap everything, and like, I break it down even more. The first, I go through and I wrap the first one, and then I leave them, and then I go through and I do the second wrap. All of them, like really break it down to each step. Now, are you confident that you packed this well?
I feel confident.
All right, so you're gonna hold it by your hips and you're just gonna drop it. Do you think it's broken?
I hope not.
Doesn't sound like it. If you're not confident when you hold it by your hip and you drop it, don't send it in, repackage it, all right? That's a finished product. So another thing I didn't have you do is I like to check the ends of the candle, and then if I don't feel like it was wrapped well enough, I'll move some bubble there. That's fine. All right, how do you think we should pack this?
Well, we wouldn't use bubble wrap.
We wouldn't? No, I don't think we would. It's not breakable. This one's a bit of a trick question. It's different than all the rest, and there's a lot of prep that's like this. It's not a fluid. It's not a shirt or a teddy bear, and it's not breakable. So really all you have to do is make sure that the expiration date is good and then slap on your FN SKU. Now this one is a little bit of a special case because you'll notice there's a ton of barcodes. So you're gonna wanna leave one barcode open to put on your FN SKU. All the rest, you're gonna wanna cover up with some blank label so that it can't get scanned and it can't get seen. None of those things that you cover up with can have any words on it as well, right? Good job. Give them a hand. Thank you. Good job, sir.
That's it. Thank you all for listening. Now we're gonna take questions if you have any. Besides that, you can follow us on socials if you ever have any more questions. Most of us are on YouTube, and then there's all of our Instagram QR codes as well. But yeah, we'll open it up for questions if anyone has anything.
So, you mentioned brand a number of times. With the exception of something you are directly manufacturing yourself, such as the candle. Okay, so let's take that out of the equation because that is your brand, that is your product. They're going to come back and when they search for it, they're going to find you. Everything else, who comes back to the same supplier on Amazon? Or do you bought that camping tent, you were happy
Yeah.
with that camping tent, you go back to Amazon, how many people look up the seller they bought it from? Or do they just go to Amazon and just,
Yeah.
now you're making a single sale rather than if
Right.
you had your own website, which is how I run things for my stuff, whereas, hey, I like this, I trust this seller, even on eBay, you're like, I trust this seller, and so I'll go back to that seller. How would you bring people back? How would you build a brand on Amazon when Amazon doesn't let you put your logo on
Yeah.
the products, put your
Yeah.
name on the packing material? How do you get return?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I would say that's only possible when you are building your own brand. If you're selling other existing brand products, then no, customers usually don't go back to a specific seller. How it works is on Amazon, there's something called the buy box. This is on the product page when it says add to cart or buy now. That's the seller the customer almost always is gonna buy from. Doesn't matter if they bought from you before, they're gonna go to whoever has that buy box. This is usually determined by who has the best price. So if you are wanting to ensure that you're getting returning customers, have the best price possible. But really, no, the only way to guarantee it is to be building your own brand.
There are other things attached to that as well. For example, having a good sales history and being a reputable seller on Amazon. For example, if you start getting customer complaints because you're sending them broken candles because you didn't package it well, or you're getting items that get ripped, or just poorly constructed items. You're going to get bad reviews. So it's going to be harder for you to win that buy box to get those returning customers. And if you are having your own brand and want a returning customer, I know for me, I buy some third-party electronics on Amazon, but if I find something that worked very well for me, I'll look back in my order history and I'll see that, okay, this is the person I bought it from. Let me see if these also sell this other piece that I need. So that it does work that way as well, to kind of build that good review base, and people can see your review count and the comments that they've left for you.
And that's how I shop on eBay.
Yeah.
Is, that's one of the first things you're gonna look at is the start seller, where it's shipping from, things like that. But I am paying attention to that seller, whereas Amazon has taken all that away and just represents it. Mostly is Amazon,
Yeah.
lets you know where to dig.
Right.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know there are third-party sellers. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're looking at a business, so if you sell $1 million of products or $10 million of products, obviously economies of scale change your margins so that you can lower the per count, volume, cost. But what margin range do you typically look at to build in a product, to be able to sell it back to Amazon? What's your target?
So again, I primarily do retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. I don't actually have a brand that I've launched on Amazon's platform. But what I look for typically at the scale that I'm at is anywhere between 12 to 20% margins. There are home run items that you're able to find that are a lot greater. And there are some things that unfortunately you might have to sell for a little bit lower, but typically it's within that range. I think you could answer for the brand portion of it.
In my business and generally with arbitrage sellers, which is what we come from, 10 to 20%. When you're starting out, you're going to have higher margins, and then as you scale, you're going to have low margins. I think Amazon is about high volume at low margins, so 10 to 20% generally. Now, if you are building your own brand, I do think that has the potential to be higher. Gross margin, probably 30%, and then it's going to cut back from there based on your other costs. Yeah.
What are your, sorry, go ahead. I was just saying, what are your biggest limitations then as you build out that brand? Is it supply? Is it access to capital?
Probably capital is going to be the biggest issue.
Yeah, it's going to be capital, and then I think taking the time to build out your systems to be able to continue growing.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I've learned a lot about Logan is building out those systems so that everyone has 24 hours in the day, right? But if you're able to build out different systems and put those responsibilities onto others, you're able to continue growing your business, doing the things that give you a larger return in your time, and continue to scale your business with still using the only 24 hours that everyone has.
If I have my own brand, do I have to go direct, or is there somebody like you guys that does the shipping, or do you buy that product and resell it?
Yeah, so you can
Go either way.
You can do it yourself, or you can partner with an Amazon seller. Generally, those relationships look like you're just wholesaling to them, and they're basically building your brand for you.
Yep.
So if you don't want to have to deal with Amazon, but still take advantage of those sales, you just wholesale to an Amazon seller, and they'll do that work for you. Yeah.
Yes.
Another question, any experience, or do you know if there's a streamline between print on demand and Amazon, selling on Amazon?
I know some people do it. It's not something I have experience or knowledge about, but I do know that that is possible.
Yeah, that's the same.
It's outside of my area, though.
How did you kind of get developed in billing and inventory management?
Yeah, I mean, it's a skill set that I developed over time, and then there's tools and softwares that you can utilize. Big one that a lot of Amazon sellers use is called Inventory Lab. It syncs up directly with your Amazon Seller Central account and then helps you manage that. Then I've also built a team that just almost every day we're just checking inventory levels, looking if things need to be replenished and things like that. So processes over time, but there's also software that can help.
Yeah, and Amazon, although you don't have any customer data to be able to reach back out to them, you do have a lot of sales data from Amazon of the velocity of how fast you're selling through or how something has sold historically. So you do have all that information, so you can kind of predict how much inventory you're going to want to have. In addition to that, they keep that database for a long time, so you can also look at the seasonality of whatever you're selling, how much it sold last year. And then obviously you're going to want to use, your business sense, right? You're going to want to see, okay, yeah, this happened last year and it sold this much last year, but this year everyone's at home because we just had a pandemic, so it might sell more. So you want to keep track of all that and kind of make the best decision that you can to see how much of an inventory level you're going to want to have.
When you're doing like online arbitrage, how do you pick like what product you want to sell?
Great question. So as I mentioned, Amazon does give you a lot of data, and there's a lot of softwares out there that you can use to track the historical price and velocity of a sale of a specific item. So you kind of just look at all those key points and indicators, and you make the best decision that you can. And then on top of that, you want to take a look at the amount of competition there is on any of those products. And if you're still profitable, send it in.
Yeah, I like to say we're not buying products, we're buying the data behind the products. I don't even care what it is, but if the data tells me it's profitable, it's stable, and it's going to sell, I'll buy it. I don't even know what a lot of the items we are. I just know my team is trained well to buy the data behind it. Keepa is a really good tool, and then there's other ways to look at profitability, but Keepa is one you absolutely have to get and master. We've got YouTube tutorials on our channels if you want to learn more.
So let's say that I find a product that I want to arbitrage. Do I go to Alibaba and try to get 1,000 set of those and have them come in volume, or am I looking
No.
at local stores
So
to get?
if you're finding a product that you want to arbitrage, that means it's already an existing product. If you're buying it from Alibaba, then it's fake. It's fake. Alibaba it can connect you with manufacturers to make your own product.
Sure.
Let's say you find a Nike product that you want to resell. If you go to Alibaba and buy that from them, it's a fake Nike product. Then your account's going to get shut down. Yeah.
But I think where you might have been leading to is more so private label.
Yeah.
So if you find an item on a retail store that sells well and that you think there is room to sell more of it, you can definitely go to Alibaba, get something that's similar, whether it's lids or flashlight or whatever it can be, and you can slap your own logo and your business information onto that and sell that on Amazon as well.
As
But
its own product.
as its own product, and then definitely and rewatch what Phil was saying, because he is an expert when it comes to that.
Yep.
And so he's built a great basis when it comes to private label, and he's very knowledgeable. So I would definitely reach out to him if you are interested in doing that. Any more questions?
I keep asking questions.
No, you're fine.
How much product do you touch then with each year, kind of, as you're going through things? Because obviously space can be a concern.
Yeah.
Do that.
So I'll answer this in two ways. We sell a ton
answer
of
three
different.
ways?
Just two.
Oh, fine.
We sell a ton of different products. So my inventory probably has like 500 different active products at a time. But if you're asking how many I physically touch, maybe 5% of that. So we utilize what's called a prep center. It's a third-party fulfillment center. All of our inventory goes straight to them. They handle the repackaging, sending into Amazon. And then since we're utilizing FBA, Amazon ships direct to our customer. So we have key partners so that we don't have to do a lot of this prep work.
Yeah, and there's really, to add to that, there's different ways. Like, for example, I touch more of my products, get them sent to my house, have them in my garage, prep them myself, and then send them all out. So you don't necessarily have to use a prep center, but I would say once you get to a certain point and you start running out of time, you're going to want to send, hire it out to a prep center. Because again, you want to keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, everyone only has 24 hours in a day, and packing and prepping is one of those things that you don't really get as much of return in value for your time. So yeah,
So
that's how I'd
if
answer.
I want to vertically integrate my business and I want to be the prep center in addition to selling my own products, then how does that structure look like? Do you have a consistent business to be able to do that?
Like if you're processing your own inventory?
That, but I mean, if I want to be the processor for others as well.
Oh, yeah. Me and Josh kind of did this out in Delaware over the summer.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you can have, there's an extreme demand for it. You can have consistent business. It's just finding those clients.
Might take that offline with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the most important part for that as well is having the manpower to do it as well, or else you're going to find yourself prepping everyone else's
Yep.
things. I think that's the most key point of starting a prep center, is having the manpower.
Yeah. Any other questions? All
Is
right.
there any specific reason you did it in Delaware and not in Hillsborough, your prep center?
Yeah, Delaware doesn't have sales tax, so with arbitrage, you have to pay the sales tax on your items. So by sending it to a tax-free state, let's say I'm buying an item that costs $30, I'm probably paying $1.50 to $2 in sales tax here, but out there I'm paying $0. Now compound that over 10+ thousand units a month, you can do the math. Obviously, it's way more economical there, and then it also allows us to give that same advantage to our clients.
Yeah. Now that's not to say that there aren't prep centers that are in states that do charge taxes, because there are. And what they do is, because if you were to get like a prep center in Delaware, you'd be charging $2.50 to prep every individual item. If you go with a state like Illinois, then maybe that product would cost you $1.50 or $1 to ship. So it's a little bit more. Just depends on what the client wants and what they really need. If they want faster, cheaper service, or if they want the tax-free advantage.
All right. Thank you all for joining us again.
Thank you
If you
so
have
much.
other questions, there's the socials. You can hit us up. Thanks.